Hello, everybody, and welcome to the D-Line, soon to everyone's favorite football podcast in Mzansi, courtesy of the Clash, your IOL sports show. My name is Malbongo Mdlecha. With me to talk football today is Mihlali Balega and Mr. Gibbs, the legendary one, our top football scribes on the IOL and our top contributors on the Clash. Today, we're looking at football matters. As you can see, the landscape is changing on the log. The landscape is changing on the coaches' corner. The landscape is changing with the World Cup qualifiers. Maybe just to get going, we've got this issue which is coming over and over again. It's recurring. The Mokoena Gate. Recent reports or recent updates regarding that matter is that FIFA recently gave out a statement talking, detailing all their matters or sanction matters or matters to be dealt with, and by sheer chance, South Africa's matter regarding Mokoena, who played against Lesotho, was not mentioned. And maybe we can again read from the lines from that. Does that mean that Bafana Bafana is off the hook? We are just waiting to get those 3 points and get our ticket to the USA and Canada in the 2026 World Cup. Mr. Gibbs,
Well,
what have you found out from
we
that?
can't say they're off the hook. This speculation came about because a statement published by FIFA 3 days ago, in which they listed all the offending countries in the recent qualifiers and what action has been taken against them. What has happened is that Bafana Bafana do not appear on that list. And so some wisecracks have taken it upon themselves to say, oh, nothing is going to happen about this Bafana Mokoena story. But we know FIFA has got a way of dealing with things, and in the past, very often, they will announce punitive measures for things that have appeared many, many weeks or months ago even. My informed sources at SAFA tells me that they have not been informed. There is no word from FIFA that action will be taken against them, and maybe it's because FIFA is satisfied that the protest wasn't lodged according to the rules. And what's more, I understand that Lesotho also did not accompany their protest with the necessary money. But there's a lot of money that to lodge a protest, and it's understandable that a small country like Lesotho, who was struggling economically, can lay out funds like that for something they won't even benefit by. So if South Africa are to lose 3 points, there is no benefit for Lesotho. Teams like Benin or Nigeria, they stand to benefit. And so that's my thoughts on the matter. Over to you, Michali.
No, I think Mr. Gibbs, you're on the money there, saying that, Lesotho didn't protest. I think that's the first thing. But also, the other thing that you need to consider is that the law clearly states that if an infringement is done, then FIFA must act, So we're still waiting on that as to whether or not they will act come the end of the qualifiers next month, because what still also remains paramount is the fact that Bafana Bafana are still in pole position to actually qualify for the World Cup. Whether or not FIFA does deduct the 3 points, they just need to make it a point that they win their 2 games against Zimbabwe and Rwanda, next month. But also, what comes into factor is the fact that you remember there was a tweet, on X that was actually sent out by FIFA saying that if Bafana Bafana does beat Nigeria, and then the other qualifier, Benin, I think they were playing against Lesotho, goes Bafana Bafana's way, they will actually qualify. So, the silence of FIFA is actually giving people hopes that we'll qualify for the World Cup, without FIFA taking actual actions against what happened in the qualifier that hosted here at home against Lesotho. So yeah, it's still a waiting game for now, but it's still in Bafana's ball to actually, make it a point that you get the match-winning result in the game against Zimbabwe and Rwanda, and then we secure the ticket to North America come next month. So yeah, our biggest bet, we just need to do what we need to do, still in our hands, and then we'll take it there going forward.
Yeah. it does seem that things end up going to, working on our favor as well. As you mentioned that, there was that tweet, and then when FIFA, puts forward those projects that are going to deal with, and we are not mentioned there, but let's hope for the best. And by winning those two games, we'll be preparing for the West. Maybe taking matters further, the biggest elephant in the room again, though, today is the Nasreddine Nabi case with Kaizer Chiefs. Uh, there's always been those things that, hey, when Nabi is away, Chiefs start winning. And then you remember he was in there for the beginning of the season and they started collecting those maximum points, and he comes back and everyone was saying, oh, Nabi is coming back. You'll get what is coming to you. But that's the banter from the fans. I mean, but to honestly understand what's going on, gentlemen, what actually is going on with the Chiefs and Nabi? We understand that they haven't really said anything official up to the moment as we are recording today. But what exactly is going on? What should the Kaizer Chiefs fan read from this situation?
Well, in the absence of an official statement from Kaizer Chiefs, there are some reports and certainly some from some credible journalists saying that Nasreddine Nabi and Kaizer Chiefs have parted ways. And the story is that when Nabi arrived for work on Wednesday morning, he was told to step aside. And Chiefs management pointed out to him that he wasn't qualified in terms of CAF's regulations to sit on the team bench for CAF games. So it turns out that that wasn't the case because although Nabi's got a UEFA license, which is the highest license in football, he was aware of the situation, and without the Chiefs management knowing, he's taken measure to acquire that license. And on the very day that Chiefs management took this up with him, he was able to show them from his emails that the license had reached him. It was in his inbox. But by that time, he felt that he felt betrayed. He felt that there's no point carrying on with people who were dealing with him underhand. It's something they could have broached with him some time ago rather than on the last minute, more so a few hours after Chiefs lose their first league game of the season. Although people feel that wasn't the reason why they brought it up, but it was just the simmering tension between the two parties over a number of things going back to last season, starting with the poor league finish, failures in the cups, and the fact that the Chiefs went on to win the Nedbank didn't really solve matters. It just delayed matters in actual fact. So we'll just have to wait and hear what the Kaizer Chiefs have got to offer, what they're going to be saying. Until such time, Michali, what do you think?
I know
Mr. Gibbs,
I know Michali is one of those people who are very critical of the phase without Nabi. The Chiefs seem to do well when Nabi is not around.
No, but it's a fact. It's something that's been there because these guys, Sekhukhune Kaizer together with
Yusuf.
Khalil Ben Yusuf, we have never lost a game when they were, at the helm. And that, I don't know whether maybe it's the fact that maybe the players comprehend their instructions better than the head coach. That's a story of another day. Because they did say another thing that Coach Nabi had given them full powers to actually run the show whenever that is not there, So yeah, it's a waiting game because also another thing, if indeed is sacked by Chiefs, where does that leave them? Because remember, they got to the club because of him. It's another thing altogether. And also, the fact that maybe Nabi feels betrayed by the club by not believing him fully. Does that mean that he still believes? Does that mean that the club still believe in the people that he brought? He brought them. So yeah, let's look at that. But yeah, there's a lot on my opinion that I feel like Nabi hasn't done well to actually stamp his authority and actually get the confidence of the management, with the way that things are operating. The readers will read into our stories that, Nabi has done more wrong than right to actually say to them that, I'm the one that, fit to actually run, the the space at a big like Kaizer Chiefs, because it doesn't come easy for anyone. So whoever is going to succeed him, if he is indeed sacked, they need to understand that they won't come into a club where things are balanced. Coach Kevin Hunt has also already made some pointers in his previous interviews that it was not easy for him when he got there. Chiefs have everything, but we need to understand at the end of the day that they're still a family-run business. If the Mutaungs are not happy with you, then you're bound to actually step out. I think that what has come to for Nasreddine Nabi. But let's wait it out, because if he didn't disclose that he has the qualification to actually run a CAF Confederation Cup campaign like he did with this previous club at Young Africans and all that, so why is it that it's also already now that it's coming to the fore? Why is it now that Chiefs are actually probably using that against him? So there's a lot of underlying issues that we all need to address, and then maybe probably just take it from there. But from where I'm standing, it could work out either way for Chiefs. They are just 6 games into the season. Can this be, the turnaround that they probably need, and then bring someone, onto board, or else will they actually run with Coach Kaizer together with Ben Khalil Yusuf? So let's watch out for the space, and what does it mean for them? Another campaign without a head coach, because they've tried the thing of having coaches before, and it hasn't quite worked out. So let's see what's going to happen.
I think you make another very good point there, Michelle, that the current coaches, that are set to take over or maybe to continue in the interim in his absence, maybe even their contracts are tied up to his contract, because they came there to him.
Exactly.
So you never know really when he's gone for good, if they have now to draft new contracts, what will happen. So there's quite a lot to look at.
Yeah, it's quite a lot. But also it has happened before where someone brings an assistant and then the assistant, remains. Remember the case with Siad Ramovic at TS Galaxy. Yeah, and who's the head coach of TS Galaxy now? Someone who was his right-hand man. And then Siad was the first guy when he was wanted, I think, in Morocco. To say that, hey, my brother, we're vying, we're living together. Then when that didn't come through because it felt like they weren't treating his assistants right, and then came retained at TS Galaxy, but they remained. So let's just watch for the space. It's going to be quite interesting in the next few weeks and months.
In South Africa has always had that, telenovela playing out regarding coaches. Some come in to to be technical directors, knowing full well that they are the next coach. But as things stand, Coach Nasreddine Nabi will not be sitting in the dugout for Kaizer Chiefs match when they have to Angola for their preliminary Confed Cup on Saturday. So we will be watching that closely as it pans out, as Kaizer Chiefs will have to communicate regarding that situation. Coming back to PSL football, we've already mentioned that Chiefs they did get a hiding from Sekhukhune on that last match of Nabi, as things are said. Not trying to examine as to how things went wrong, or what happened there when things went wrong, but we went on to Sekhukhune summit again, the log, and only for a few hours, Sundowns took it, but only to be held by Marumo Currents yesterday. I mean, can we read anything from Sekhukune's performances now? Are they contenders at this stage?
Well, I'd say that it was a solid performance on Tuesday night. Bradley showed that he's still as dangerous as ever. I mean, that when he scored that goal, it was basically half a chance. Very few strikers would have scored from that position, because it was an instinctive action. But it would seem as if there's something missing in that Kaizer Chiefs team, because in the end, this victory was achieved far too easily. I understand, they got a goal back. That was Chiefs got the goal back. That was fine. But in the second half, Chiefs' defense, I mean, this defense has never conceded a goal in 5 games. But they looked terribly disjointed in the second half. They just sprung leaks all over the show, and they couldn't deal with the pace up front of Sekhukhune. So I think the Chiefs has got a lot of work to do now in the defense. And they're playing this weekend, and maybe we'll see a difference this weekend.
Thank you, Mr. Gibbs. Michelle, the question now is, yes, Chiefs got the beating from Sekhukhune. Sekhukhune are on top of the log. The question now is that are they contenders for the league title?
To be quite honest, I think I did say from even the start of the season that the squad that they've assembled, together with the hunger of Coach Eric Tinkler, that they will always be contenders. It's just how far they can go to push, club like Pirates and Stellies, to the limit to ensure that they finish. They might not actually go all the way to actually win the league, but I think Sekhukhune has what it takes to actually finish in the top two for that matter. So yeah, let's wait it out and just see how far it is that they can actually do. Because Coach Eric Tinkler did say that he's hungry for trophies, and having a striker like Bradley Cobra, keep him injury free, and then he'll score you goals any day, And also another thing, Kelly, so we saw that is the king of assists. Remember, there was a game that it was, I think, 3 assists in a single game, and actually walk out with with the player of the match award. So yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting season for Sekhukhune. I think it's just up to them to maintain the form that they've started with, and also they've got a coach that can actually push the team to actually go all the way. I mean, already they've beaten, two Soweto Giants. Remember that they beat Pirates before they beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's up to them. And I think with Sundowns now, yes, they are still the team to beat for the league, but Sundowns are not the Sundowns that we would normally know that they will beat people is the score free, because Rangers scoring goals for fun. But what happens to Rangers when the unfortunate of injuries come through form as well and all that? And a lot of Sundowns supporters are calling for Shalulu to be played, but I don't think the coach believe in him that much. He did say that he'd come in and then help the team. And also with Kutlano Litlako and also Siyabonga Mapena going to the Under-20 World Cup. So who do you bring in? We've seen Temas always struggling with injuries and all that. So they're still beyond a lot. Sundowns going to be tested. They've got the depth, but they need players that are used to these kind of games and playing regularly. So Sekhukhune, if they continue this way, hey, they might bring a lot of surprise to a lot of people.
And you can't help but
making a good point to Italy about the use of Bradley Grobler, because after the match, Eric Tinkler said that they withdrew Grobler from training for this match. They just allowed him to rest.
Yeah, he had chest infection and all that.
Yeah, but I was going to say you can't help but feel, I feel happy for Coach Eric Tinkler after the season he had with Cape Town City last season, and then to come back to Sekhukhune and have such a good run. So, but all in the interest of football. Let's see what happens. And again, another team that finally got one back, AmaZulu beating Stellenbosch. They were going for a night match, failing to beat Stellenbosch. Did you manage to catch that one out? Could you say something about the pots that Atazwane is cooking at AmaZulu, or was it just Stellies, having that depressing aftermath after losing that final on Saturday?
I think that the Stellenbosch is, I think they're not quite prepared for what is happening with this team. They've sold quite a few of their best players. And I think they might have thought they will recover sooner than later, but it's taking longer because it places a massive burden on the technical staff to prepare a team to perform like they did last season. So I think it's something that Steve Barker has been anxious about for some time. And they've got a good technical team in place, but there's only so much they can do. And if you're up against a team like AmaZulu and they can spot these weaknesses, certainly as Arthur Zwane has, they are able to win that match. And I think Stellenbosch are going to be battling for the next few weeks.
Sad to hear that. If that's how you're looking at it, Mr. Gibbs, it's sad to hear that, because it's been one of the teams that have shown consistency, and I think the rise of Stellenbosch have actually made the league better. Have you got one to say there, Michali?
Yeah, it's always going to be tough for Stellies, because also you must remember another thing. In as much as Steve Barker is able to replace his star players with players that have actually left, he does mention that it's hard. He revealed in his post-match press conference against Paris that seeing players that he groomed, and then when they are the opposite side and fully matured and all that, it's hard because it feels like he needs to, if he had those players, then maybe the results could actually pan out differently for him. So yeah, let's see. In as much as I feel like he's still got players that are coming up, I've been impressed with I think Mtiane, who was bought from Richards from Milford last season, and then he's just come into the fore and actually showed that he's fitting into it. But it's going to take some time, and I think the club needs to understand that results won't be the same. Going forward, they won't be able to maintain some players. They can actually fit into the club instantly, but now the question is that can they actually get the much needed result? Because another thing is with Steve Barker is trying to please players that have shown loyalty. He's starting other players, whereas others don't start, and also players bring a lot of dynamics to the game. Like Elite Pili, for instance, he comes into as a substitute and makes it different, but is he a good starter? Does he know how to start a game and finish it off? That's another problem. So I think with time they will actually blend together. But unfortunately, time is also something that they don't have. Now they need to juggle between continental and actual domestic, campaigns. And so let's see what happens going forward. What is going to be more important than the other? Because finishing in the semi-final of the Confed Cup last season actually enticed the appetite to say that we can actually maybe go all the way and actually reach the final. And also they need to do well domestically because trophies are there. Carling, they've won it before, but can they go all the way? The league campaign also becomes another different piece altogether because you don't qualify for continental football if you don't finish in the top three. Then the other teams like Sekhukhune, who are breathing down their neck already because they can understand that okay, fine, it's going to be Sundowns, and then maybe a team that finishes second, and then do we have what it takes to actually finish in the top three again? So yeah, it's going to test a lot from Coach Steve Barker, but I feel like with time is actually maybe he will show his prowess and actually come out of this one yet again.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And talking about continental football, this weekend we are starting that journey with Orlando Pirates going to Liole. Luckily for them, they will be playing in Bloom, and surely they'll enjoy a fair, maybe even a greater chance of support with the Swele fans there. And then you've got Chiefs going to Angola to Kabuskop. With Pirates. Obviously, the one thing they would want to build on is last season's run when they were knocked out in the semi-final. I mean, it's going again to test Coach Abdeslam Wadu. Would you feel that maybe with the MTN 8, he has done enough, maybe just to endear himself, to the heart of the coast?
Yeah, I think they're very fortunate to have had a game drawn against a team where they don't have to travel much, just across the border. So that will help quite a bit. And the PSL has made things very, very easy for Pirates. They've withdrawn their midweek game, so they'll be well rested. And it's just a 2.5-hour journey across the border to Lesotho to play that match. So I think Pirates will be in good shape for that match, and we can expect them to get a win in the first leg, and then start off the second leg with an advantage on home soil. With Kaizer Chiefs, I think that they might find it a bit tough now, especially with the change in the coaching. The team might be a bit disorientated. They need to regroup. They need to stay focused and not worry about Nasreddine Nabi. They've got 2 assistant coaches who have done quite well in the past. Took them to wins in the first 3 games, and they must believe in them. And then hopefully they'll come away with a good result in Angola.
Yeah. And then just to correct them, Mr. Gibbs, I believe Pirates are going to be playing in Bloom. You know that these 2 stadiums are not up to Cape standard, so it's even better for Pirates. They're just going to Bloom. Michele, your ones there, looking at we are starting that CAF run. Obviously, Pirates is expected to do better, even go one better this season, and hopefully for them they will make the final.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, they go again. And hopefully they don't suffer from the MTN 8 Papalas. Because remember last season when they won the MTN 8, they were brought down to earth by Magesi in the Carling knockout just, I think a week later. But yeah, I don't think they would actually lose to Lioli. You know, I think they would be high on confidence and actually playing away, but away from home, but at home, regardless of that in Bloemfontein. So yeah, I think they will do well and actually reach the group stages and see where there's the momentum take them, or going forward. Because I think when they assembled, I think 11 signings, if I'm not mistaken, this season. It was also at the back of thinking that no, we're going back to continental football, so we need a bigger squad. And yeah, that's where the prowess of coach Abdeslam Wad will actually be tested and actually try to take the team forward, because they need to build on what they did last season.
Yeah, no,
And
that's
yeah,
right.
I think also with Chiefs as well. Yeah, just to chop in, and it's a space that you'll feel if Nabi is not there, then Cedric Kaizer together with Khalil Ben Yusuf, they know very well, especially having been at their previous gigs last season, where in the previous season rather, where they actually in the space of continental football. So with them as well, you remember also the team that they're playing against recently lost in a domestic competition against Angolan Giants, I think Petro de Luanda. So their spirit and morale is not high, even though they actually be playing at home. So Chiefs should go there, make it a point that they don't concede and come back, at home the following weekend and finish off the tie and actually try to get to the group stages of the competition.
And then this movie is coming back again, where we've seen Sundowns, butcher some points before they embark on their continental endeavors. And this weekend again, they'll be hosting Golden Arrows. In fact, it's Durban City. Sekhukhune will be hosting Golden Arrows. Maybe just to to wrap the episode there with those two matches, KZN to decide or to influence log leadership this weekend.
I think Sundowns is battling a bit, but I expect them to beat Durban City. Sundowns didn't perform too well against Gallants in the midweek match. Gallants surprisingly were on top for parts of the game, and if it wasn't for Bronwyn Williams, Sundowns might have lost the game. He
Yeah,
pulled off two brilliant saves during the match, but it's a question of the rotation that seems to be affecting their performances. Michael Cardozo is well aware of the fact that he's got to keep players ready for action, especially with the continental matches coming up. He's also concerned about the load of his players during international matches. So he's giving quite a few of the fringe players a chance to play and resting the regulars. So I think it's a question of time that that they find their feet and that they hit their straps and come flying out of the starting gates.
yeah. Okay. And you've got Kevin Hunt, Michelle. He understands and he knows the Twenty Derby well. He personally has ways how to play that one, even though he's not playing with the Twenty side. I'm sure that experience will count a lot for him.
Yeah, 100%. This is, I think, probably a game that Kevin will want to win at all costs. Having started so well, in the league. I mean, Durban City are fourth, and who would have imagined? Because one would say that when they signed a host of old guards, they were actually becoming a retirement village. But now look at where they are with all the signings that they've made, and obviously, I mean, getting a result against Sundown, beat a draw, and more fortunately, a win. They would actually take that without a doubt. So yeah, let's see now. Let's see how this one pans out, and it will be important for Sundown to actually collect points as best as soon as possible that they can do, because yeah, they've shown that they've got the mettle to actually push for result come the crunch time of the season. But getting points, when just the campaign is starting off, is actually very important for them, because they are going to actually lose out on players who will be with away with Bafana come AFCON in December. So those things, and there are eventualities like injuries and all that, and form as well come the second half of the season. So they need to get points best as soon as they can possibly do now, so that come when they are stretched, they've actually secured their spot. Yeah, but what a interesting season that I think we're going to have in the PSL top flight.
Yeah, indeed, it's going to be an interesting season. It's already an interesting year. So, yeah, with the AFCON starting in December. So, it's going to be a very interesting season, especially for the big clubs, which is why maybe the Panda can start putting their money on Sekhukhune and lifting the trophy. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and for this episode of the D-Line. Again, soon to be everyone's favorite food podcast, courtesy of the Clutch, which is IOL's sports show. Do catch the D-Line on the Clutch on our YouTube channel. And yeah, these were also our scribes, Michelle Balega, Mr. Herman Gibbs, and their opinions and their take on daily pieces as they give us on the IOL website. And yes, thank you very much. Over and out, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay.